live. It's Thursday, 7 o'clock Central. More terror attacks as part of the Saudi Arabian Jihad attack program. But first, a warning from Donald Trump about the parable of the snake. Get ready. We're live from Austin, Texas.
On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Oh, well," she cried, "I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. This could be the great Trojan horse of all time. Because you look at the migration, study it, look at it. Now they'll start infiltrating with women and children. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. Now she clutched him to her bosom. "You're so beautiful," she cried. "But if I hadn't brought you in, by now you might have died." She stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. "I saved you," cried the woman, "and you've bit me, heavens wide. You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Oh, shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in."
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Well, I had just gotten home to my family about an hour and 20 minutes ago. And no sooner had I kissed my children and smelled dinner cooking on the stove that I jumped back in my Dodge vehicle and drove back into the INFOWARS News Center in South Austin. There has been another horrific terror attack confirmed with a truck running over 73 people that have died, many, many others wounded, with men firing machine guns that are totally illegal in France in a gun-free zone at the population they were killing. Something ISIS just 2 weeks ago, this is up on INFOWARS.com, DrudgeReport.com, of course, is covering it prolifically. And as soon as I got the call pulling into the house, I instantly went to INFOWARS. I saw a few articles there. I went to Drudge, and there was images of just piles of dead bodies, the Eiffel Tower on fire, you know, just all sorts of craziness. They're claiming the Eiffel Tower fire is fireworks or something. They also claim San Bernardino was not a terror attack and was workplace violence. Hopefully it was just fireworks, but we're going to be tracking all of that. But here's what I do know. Criminal elements of our government are using radical Islam, which is really just orthodox classical Islam, to attack Russia and to attack Europe and to attack Asia and to attack Africa and to attack North America. Areas that have never even been Islamic in Central Africa are being invaded. People are being slaughtered by the tens of thousands. They're attacking and killing people on a weekly basis in China. I mean, this is getting out of control. Saudi Arabia runs Islam. 80% of Muslims follow the Sunni system that is basically controlled by the Wahhabists who control Mecca, who are a radical form of the Sunnis. And they are taking the most vicious form that ran the slave trade, taught Europeans how to do it. You cannot make this up. Mutilates women sexually, kills homosexuals on sight, but then they're all into it themselves. I mean, it's some weird stuff. And Hillary is 20% funded by the Saudis alone. Something like 40% total with the Gulf states. It's not even a campaign issue. And Donald Trump, for all his problems, he's not perfect, has the courage to talk about this and to have an advisor like General Flynn, who first exposed that our government is running al-Qaeda and ISIS when he was the head of Defense Intelligence. So that's what's currently happening. That's what's currently unfolding. We saw them try to say that Orlando wasn't a terror attack. We saw them say that Fort Hood wasn't a terror attack for 4 years. We saw them say that attack after attack after attack, Army, Navy, Marine Corps recruiting centers wasn't a jihad attack. That they aren't on our southern border, that they're not coming through. We went down and proved it. Joe Biggs did, and our crew. This is serious. And 2 weeks ago, we have the articles on INFOWARS.com. I'm going to go over them here in a minute. ISIS said, we're going to start hitting with trucks. And I've always pointed that out. You're not going to stop ISIS at the airport. You're going to stop them at the border. You don't move the checkpoints out to the highway, say at Austin Bergstrom. If ISIS hits, they'll drive an 18-wheeler full of gasoline or whatever into the checkpoint and blow everybody up. All you've done is create a target. You keep the drawbridge up. You don't lower it, let people in, and then post guards in every family's, little hovel. And the bigger question is, why are they bringing them in? Why are they letting them launch a jihad attack? Why did they fund an Arab Spring to put these people in charge? Paul Watson's joining us from London, England. His family's from Sheffield. But because the economy shut down there, they've moved an area outside Nice where they actually own a bed and breakfast. Paul was just there a few weeks ago. He was there with the rest of our crew at the last terror attack, and there were no-go zones all over Paris, all over Brussels, Belgium, where they said, you get out of here, we're going to basically kill you. The media said Trump was a liar, it didn't exist. So here's what we know right now. Daily Mail, 73, and the number's growing every few minutes, dead, at least 73 dead, and shots fired as lorry, that's a truck, rams into crowds celebrating Bastille Day, that's their Independence Day, that's like their July 4th, in Nice, leaving bodies strewn across the road in suspected terror attack. It's now confirmed to be a terror attack. Now here's the larger issue. France is the most tolerant place other than Sweden, bringing in massive groups of Muslims, giving them welfare, putting them in jobs, everything, but they attack it most. When you kiss its butt, like a pimp, it slaps you around. And they're increasing in frequency. They're getting more intense. They've brought in 5 million people the last 3 years into Europe. 80% of them, according to Interpol, are military-age males with fake passports. They're not Syrian. They're the people that invaded Syria, a moderate Muslim country where Jews and Christians could live in peace with Muslims, where women got to go to college, where women were in jobs of authority and doctors and lawyers. No, 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 not now. We're going to Joe Biggs, who just drove right back into the studio when he heard we were about to go live. And I'm going to pop in with Paul Watson in London, England. But this is incredible. Trump has come out and says terror attacks are only going to get worse. Of course, they call him a conspiracy theorist. We have smoke and fire engulfing the Eiffel Tower. The police claim it's not Islamic. They claimed for an hour it wasn't Islamic in Nice, with guys shooting machine guns that were illegal. You can't buy in France, that they're smuggling in and running over crowds of people jumping curbs. So that's all going on, and we've got some of that B-roll video we can roll whenever the crew wants to for viewers. But here's the number one thing. We're in an info war, and we need everybody watching to understand that we're live right now. We need everybody to send the links that are on INFOWARS.com/show out. Because when you do that, we get 3-4 million new viewers and listeners. We've done this on election night. We've done this at Bilderberg. When you decide to share the links, when you decide to send the links out, when you decide that this is important, we can change the narrative. Because I'll guarantee you, they're going to be trying to say this is Islamic terror tomorrow. In fact, they're already doing it. Hassan shoots 14 people at Fort Hood, and they said it wasn't Islamic terror. He was getting direct orders from Anwar al-Awlaki. And again, the CIA knew for 2 years and let it happen. Again, why are they doing this? That's the second part of this show tonight. We may go an hour, 2 hours live here. We already have the taped news that was about to go live. So we're going to be streaming for the next few hours here on UHF, VHF stations, cable stations like Houston, and others that are picking us up, radio stations picking us up around the country as well. But what's important is we're challenging this narrative where Obama says you can't even say Islamic terror. And General Flynn said it was Islamic terror 2 years ago, and then Obama was aiding it. He was relieved of command. Trump supposedly considering him as a VP. I don't know if this Pence news is real. That's been, quote, suspended in lieu of terror attack. The word I got today, not from Stone, but he wouldn't talk about it, was this isn't what Trump actually was going to do. This is like some type of dirty op by the RNC. Well, now seeing Trump coming out saying this confirms that to a great extent, that Trump actually wasn't decided yet and had met with the 4 men he was looking at that event, including General Flynn, Senator Sessions, and then the horrible Newt Gingrich, and, of course, Chris Christie. I don't like Chris Christie, but he's better than Newt Gingrich. Let me tell you, Newt Gingrich is a globalist. Just read his own writings. But we're going to be looking at all of this very, very carefully. What did Paul Watson write on July 11th, just 3 days ago? Head of French police, migrant sex assaults could trigger civil war. Because, I mean, France declared 6 months ago a civil emergency with the roads collapsing. We've shown you that there's hundreds of new videos a week in France of just thousands of people robbing families, pulling them out of cars, raping them, robbing, burning things. They'll just run out in the streets, start crapping on the ground. You got to understand, these Islamic countries are collapsing. Their populations have tripled the last 50 years. They're out in the middle of the desert, nowhere. They're following some crazy Islamic deal where women are chained up at home with their genitals cut off. They have the left's all worshiping them. I mean, this is insane. And I got to tell you, just at this point, as soon as I looked on the Drudge, it was like the burning Eiffel Tower and dead bodies everywhere. And I'm like, my God, how bad is this going to get? And again, I didn't want the clash of civilizations. I didn't want to invade the Middle East and overthrow moderates like Saddam Hussein and Assad and Gaddafi and Hosni Mubarak, who were stabilizers, and people had economies and tourism. Istanbul's collapsing in Turkey. No one's going there. It's an incredible city. All of this is happening. And now Paris, and tourism's went way down, but it doesn't matter. The jihadists, the Saudi Arabians, are giving billions a year, and sometimes personally the royal families and others, to sell out. Let's get Joe Biggs, combat veteran in Afghanistan and Iraq, who was just over in France a few months ago at the last terror attack and was run out with death threats all over. The police do nothing. I mean, it's crazy. Islam is not compatible with free Western religions. Will we bring anybody else in that sexually mutilates women and puts hoods over their heads? I just don't get why it's so protected. Joe Biggs, first look at this. We're about 2 hours into it. They tried to say it wasn't a jihad attack till video and witnesses said they were shooting machine guns out the windows of the truck. I know you've dealt with this, the use of trucks before. ISIS said this 2 weeks ago. What is your take on this? And can you believe they tried to spin this and said it wasn't a terror attack?
Well, it's interesting. This attack falls on the day that President Francois Hollande ended the declaration the emergency declaration that they had there in France. And now you have this truck that was plowing through people for up to 2 or 3 kilometers. And now they're saying that the back of that truck was full of guns, ammunition, grenades. So what I'm thinking is this truck was trying to head to a certain rally point, run over people, and then eventually terrorists on the sidelines were going to jump on the back of that truck and use those weapons. So it's only been confirmed that the one guy, the driver, was inside that truck. The French police took him out, and I believe that kept him from getting to the rally point where he was going to meet other terrorists to help take out this attack to another level. So that's really interesting to see that all unfolding right now. And like you said, you know, our own president is starting to bring these kinds of people into our country. Americans should be pissed off. You know, when I get on Twitter and I'm sitting here reading people's comments and they're like, oh, it's only going to be a matter of time before the right comes out and talks about how they want to be pro-Second Amendment. You know, what is it with these Yankees and wanting to have guns? Well, when ISIS came to Texas, look what happened. 2 ISIS terrorists are dead now.
Texas is the reason that ISIS was dead.
Yeah. So
30 seconds killed them deader than a hammer.
We need an armed society. People need to have guns. The Second Amendment is a great equalizer between you and evil. When you take guns away, guess what's going to happen? They're going to find a car, a tractor-trailer truck, and drive through you and mow people down.
That's right. Charlie Hebdo attack. This is like 3-4 times that number of dead. I've always pointed out, I mean, you can use anything as a weapon, and that's what the jihadis are doing. I know we're getting Paul Watson on the line. Do we have him on yet?
Negative.
Are we getting him on? You're trying to reach him. He is calling me. Let me give you that info. And we're live on air right now. And I need Paul Watson on the broadcast. Paul, I know you're locked and loaded for 15 after at this time. We need you to go ahead and get connected with the guys. Or if not, I can take over and let somebody else take over, and I'll get you on the line. Let's get Paul Watson on. I want to get his breakdown on all of this. This is live Folks, news of this type that normally have 100 people on this, at Fox, CNN, this is real analysis.